Well, QuickFee says the simplification of its business model is beginning to pay off, as evidenced in its maiden full-year profit being announced. QuickFee essentially facilitates B2B payment and fee funding solutions for accounting and legal professionals across Australia and the United States. CEO Bruce Coombs joins us now with the update and the outlook. Bruce, welcome. Look, before we get to the outlook, highlights. How do you feel after handing down this full-year result?
It's great. It's proof that simple businesses can deliver results, profits, and dividends. We've very much gone back to our basics. And look, as you said right on the intro there, it's got us a great result where we've paid an interim dividend, we've got a full year profit, and we've published guidance for next year.
Yeah, so that has taken a lot of work. Tell us what happened in FY26 that has really set you up for what's to come.
Yeah. A major milestone for our company is the sale of two of the three businesses we were operating in the United States. The two we sold were our card and EFT processing business, as well as our software business. And we were fortunate enough to receive 40 million Australian dollars for those. As a result, not only did it simplify our business, it gave us the opportunity to pay money back to our shareholders by way of capital return and focus entirely on running our low-risk lending business in Australia and the US.
So profitable, first dividend, capital return. So just talk to us about that laser focus then on that lending business.
Absolutely. So there's a number of listed and unlisted companies which provide funding to SMEs. We're the only one which provides that funding specifically to pay professional services firms like accountants and lawyers, but particularly in a low-risk manner because the law firm or the accounting firm stands behind every loan. So not only are we getting yields that some of the other SME lenders see, but at a much lower risk.
And how do you continue to bring in new clients? Does that take a lot of spend in terms of sales force or marketing, or how do you continue to grow organically?
Okay, that is a fantastic question. We actually only have a team of 16 people, 4 of whom are actually in our finance team. So dealing with our ASX requirements, our reporting, auditing and all that sort of thing. So that leaves a relatively modest group of extremely focused people who understand how accountants and lawyers transact, how they like to buy, and importantly, how their business operates. Because of that, our acquisition cost per firm might be higher than a digital acquisition style of business, but the value per customer is extraordinarily high.
And can that continue as you pursue your growth ambitions? Would you have to add to that team? Or maybe now is the time to talk about the FY27 outlook.
Absolutely. We've been doing the same thing for 15 years with the same type of sales approach. All lawyers and accountants have to attend events to keep their knowledge up to date, what they call CPE. So we sponsor those sorts of events, which gives us the opportunity to meet people outside their office when they've got time to talk to us. We're going to continue doing exactly the same thing. In the United States, we have a distributor, iWin, which already has 300 of the top 500 CPA firms as customers of their business, and they're distributing our solution for us over there. In terms of 2027 fiscal year, we've published guidance. We're thinking the midpoint of that, it's around the $5 million mark in terms of EBITDA. And we feel confident at this time that we are able to achieve that through growth in some of our existing customers, particularly those we signed late in financial 26 that haven't fully achieved what they can achieve through a full financial year with us, plus acquisition through iWin and other channels.
And this channel, this iWin channel in the United States, there's no sort of retreating from the US. There's no sort of rethinking that US ambition in the wake of selling off that, the US business, the US Pay Now business. Just talk to us about the dynamics of being an operator in the United States.
Absolutely. One of the great things is that we are unique as the only provider focused entirely on accountants and lawyers in the United States for this kind of lending solution. Number two, iWin's footprint within the top 500 CPA firms is unrivaled with any other vendor. Number three, when we went to the US 10 years ago, we went there to lend money to the clients of accounting and law firms. We're literally back doing exactly what we went there to do. The other products were assisting in growing volume across our lending platform. But at the end of the day, everything we do in both markets is directed at achieving those lending outcomes. All we are now is back to the basics on a very stable, profitable business in the United States.
And that is what has allowed you to pay dividends. And just maybe tell investors out there listening what the policy is going forward in terms of what the board is committing to in dividend payouts and capital management.
Our current expectation is to be able to continue to pay 1 cent per year, in half a cent in the first half of the year and a second half a cent in the second half. Whilst ever we continue to make this level of profit, that is of course sustainable.
Now, when you think about the business 5 years from now, after being through such a transformation, do you think there will be any temptation to be acquisitive, to add on bolt-on businesses, or where do you see QuickFee in 5 years?
Okay. Well, we're very fortunate in having an extremely supportive senior lender and a very supportive holdco lender with unused capacity within our receivables funding facility to enable us to grow without any refinancing. Secondly, the QuickFee business is a little counter-cyclical in as much as when times are a bit tougher, businesses need a bit more advice from their accountant and lawyer and have less capacity to pay for it. So that's a little bit of a tailwind on the QuickFee business. In terms of capacity to do something inorganic, well, we're making profits and we've got a senior debt facility which supports 95% of originations. So we only need to fund 5% of what we originate in terms of our loan book. So our capacity to do something inorganic using profits and retained earnings in our strong balance sheet is very real.
Now, when you are thinking about your customers, your clients, how sticky are they? And apart from that, I know that you're the only one that's doing exactly what you do, but do you reckon that anybody's going to try to muscle in on your territory?
Look, there's no doubt that somebody might look at our business, particularly the low risk, high yield that we've achieved, and might want to do it. To some extent, the moat is a deep understanding of how accountants and lawyers operate. In relation to the United States, we are the only. In Australia, we are not the only provider of this solution, although we are the largest. And there is a bit of a unique piece where we have a deep integration with the Xero accounting software platform in Australia. That I share that because it goes to your question around stickiness of customers. Once they've got that deep integration, which goes both ways, right through to receiving back into their Xero system, it will be a step backwards to leave QuickFee.